What are your funniest NSFW jokes?
A penguin's AC in his car goes out while driving through town on a hot day. He pulls into a mechanic repair shop to have them take a look at it. While waiting, the penguin feels it's too hot to just be standing around waiting, so he waddles over to the ice cream store and orders an ice cream cone to cool off. He heads back to the mechanic after they finish diagnosing the issue with his car. "It looks like you blew a seal," the mechanic told him. "What?" "No," the penguin says while wiping his chin. "That's just ice cream."
Larry comes home to find a gorilla on his roof. After calling several animal control numbers in the phone book, he finally calls a man who thinks he can handle this gorilla. The man arrives at the house in a white pickup truck with his dog in the passenger seat and a rifle in the back. He hands the rifle to Larry and says, "So here's what we're gonna do. I'm going to climb up onto your roof and scare the gorilla off. Once he hits the ground, I've trained my dog to go bite his nuts and shake them until the gorilla passes out. After that I'll load him up and go release him in the hills." Larry thinks about it and decides the plan isn't half bad and may actually work. "But why'd you give me the rifle? If I fall off the roof, shoot the dog. *Edit. Oh, didn't expect this to blow up. Thanks all for the awards. I had archived it from our jokes sometime in the last decade. Glad I was able to make so many people laugh today. *.
Joe wanted to buy a Harley motorcycle. He doesn't have much luck, until one day, he comes across a Harley with a "for sale" sign on it. The bike looks better than a new one, although it is 10 years old. It's shiny and in great condition. He buys it and asks the seller how he kept it in such great condition for 10 years. "Well, it's quite simple," says the seller. "Whenever the bike is outside and it's gonna rain, rub Vaseline on the chrome as it protects it from the rain," and he hands Joe a jar of Vaseline. That night, his girlfriend, Sandra, invites him over to meet her parents. Naturally, they take the bike there. Just before they enter the house, Sandra stops him and says, "I have to tell you something about my family. When we eat dinner, we don't talk. In fact, the first person who says anything during dinner has to do the dishes." "No problem," he says. And in they go. Joe is shocked. Right in the middle of the living room is a huge stack of dirty dishes. In the kitchen is another huge stack of dishes. Piled up on the stairs, in the corridor, everywhere he looks dirty dishes. They sit down to dinner, and sure enough, no one says a word. As dinner progresses, Joe decides to take advantage of the situation. He leans over and kisses Sandra. No one says a word. He reaches over and fondles her breasts. Nobody says a word. So he stands up, grabs her, rips her clothes off, throws her on the table and screws her, right there in front of her parents. His girlfriend is a little flustered. Her dad is obviously livid and her mom horrified when he sits back down, but no one says a word. He looks at her mom. She's got a great body too. Joe grabs mom, bends her over the table, pulls down her panties, and screws her every which way but loose right there on the dinner table. She has a big orgasm, and Joe sits down. His girlfriend is furious, her dad is boiling, and mom is beaming from ear to ear. But still, total silence. All of a sudden there is a loud clap of thunder, and it starts to rain. Joe remembers his bike, so he pulls the jar of Vaseline from his pocket. Suddenly the father shouts, "I'll do the beat dishes."
Sex is like playing bridge. If you don't have a good partner, you better have a good hand.
Two men are out hunting. One of them goes into the bushes to take a leak. A few moments later, there's a scream. The man's buddy runs up. "What happened to you?" The buddy asks. "A snake bit me in the dick." He answers, pointing to said snake, "Kicked to death. Call the doctors." The buddy picks up his phone, makes the call. "Doctor's office, how can we help you?" "My friend got bitten by a snake." "What did it look like?" "Red with yellow stripes." "I see. You have to suck out the poison, understand?" "Yes, I understand." He hangs up. "Come on, what did they say?" "She says you're dead, mate."
A guy walks up to a whorehouse. There's a sign on it that says, "We're closed. Beat it."
A young man walks up and sits down at the bar. "What can I get you?" the bartender inquires. "I want 6 shots of Jägermeister," responded the young man. "6 shots? Are you celebrating something?" "Yeah, my first blowjob." "Well, in that case, let me give you a 7th on the house." "No offense, sir, but if 6 shots won't get rid of the taste, nothing will."
Bill worked in a pickle factory. He had been employed there for a number of years when he came home one day to confess to his wife that he had a terrible compulsion. He had an urge to stick his penis into the pickle slicer. His wife suggested that he should see a sex therapist to talk about it, but Bill indicated that he'd be too embarrassed. He vowed to overcome the compulsion on his own. One day a few weeks later, Bill came home absolutely ashen. His wife could see at once that something was seriously wrong. "What's wrong, Bill?" she asked. "Do you remember that I told you how I had this tremendous urge to put my penis into the pickle slicer?" "Oh, Bill, you didn't." "Yes, I did. My God, Bill, what happened?" "I got fired." "No, Bill. I mean, what happened with the pickle slicer?" "Oh, she got fired too."
A man is standing naked on a street corner. A cop walks up and tells him, "Sir, you can't be doing that here unless you have a good excuse. I am going to take you to jail." "Yes, sir, I have a good excuse. I was at my girlfriend's apartment. We started drinking. Next thing you know, she jumps up and says, 'Let's get naked and go to town.' I guess I beat her here."
This one is long and weird, but please bear with me. Little Jimmy walked into the kitchen to find his grandpa smoking cigarettes. "Can I smoke a cigarette too?" asked Jimmy. "Can your dick reach your own butthole?" asked Grandpa. "No," answered Jimmy. "Then you are not old enough," replied Grandpa. The next day, Jimmy walked into the kitchen to find his grandpa drinking beer. "Can I drink some beer too?" asked Jimmy. "Can your dick reach your own butthole?" asked Grandpa. "No," answered Jimmy. "Then you are not old enough," replied Grandpa. The next day, Grandpa found Jimmy eating cookies in the kitchen. "Can I eat some cookies too?" asked Grandpa. "Can your dick reach your own butthole?" asked Jimmy. "It most certainly can," answered Grandpa. "Then go beep yourself," replied Jimmy.
My colleague can no longer attend next week's innuendo seminar. I have to fill her slot instead.
A delivery man is making a delivery to an apartment building when a gorgeous woman answers the door in nothing but a bath towel. The man turns red at the sight and quickly looks down. She looks around and pulls the man inside. "Sorry, I was so rough. I thought I heard someone coming," she says. Then the woman takes off the towel and presses herself against the man. She leans her lips to his ear and whispers in a sultry voice, "What do you think is the most impressive part of my body?" The man thinks for a moment and says, "Your ears." Clearly confused, the woman says, "My ears?" "Definitely," says the man. "When you said, 'I thought I heard someone coming,' that was me."
IDK about the funniest, but here's the dirtiest joke I know. I never get to tell it because it's so raunchy. A kid walks into a brothel, dragging a dead frog on a string behind him and carrying a piggy bank under his arm. He hands his piggy bank to the madam and says, "I'd like just 10 minutes with the dirtiest, most diseased girl you have." The madam, never one to turn away a customer, obliges. 10 minutes later, the kid walks out of the private room, dragging his dead frog behind him. Curious, the madam says, "I don't usually ask things like this, but why asterisk her? Asterisk." The kid says, "Well, I figured I'd let her give me all the diseases she has, so that when my babysitter comes in my room and touches me tonight, I'll give them to her, too." "And why do you want to do that?" "Well, when my dad comes home, he and the babysitter will screw around, and she'll give them to him, too. Then, my mom will come home, and she and dad will do it, and she'll get them too." The madam asks, "So you want to give your parents STDs?" The kid says, "Well, no, but see, after my dad leaves for work tomorrow morning, my mom is going to do it with the mailman." The madam looks confused. "What does the mailman have to do with anything? He's the son of a beep who ran over my frog."
A young Greek couple are about to get married, and before the nuptials, the young woman's mother pulls her aside for a quick chat. "Now you're about to be married," begins the mother, and Greek men are known to prefer sex in a very specific way, so at some point, he may ask you to turn around. I want you to know that it's okay to say no if you don't want to do it that way. The wedding day comes and goes and there's no turn around request from her new husband. No request on the honeymoon nor through their first year. No special request for their first anniversary, or their second. Halfway through their third year, her husband says, "You know, if you want, you can turn around and we can try this a different way." The woman says, "No, no, no. My mother warned me that this day might come and she told me I never have to do that if I don't want to." The husband replies, "That's fine with me. But I thought you wanted kids one day."
What do the Pope and a Christmas tree have in common? The balls are just for decoration.
3 men are at the gates of heaven. St. Peter says, Heaven is a big place, and you'll need a vehicle to get around. You'll get one based on how faithful you were to your partner. The first man says, in our 4 decades of marriage, never once was I even attracted to another woman. I was only faithful to my wife. St. Peter gives him a Rolls Royce. The second man says, well, sometimes I had a few one-night stands. But I still loved my wife, and never lapsed any time else. St. Peter gives him a moderately expensive car. The third man says, I'm sorry to say this, but I was incredibly unfaithful. I had affairs every week. He gets a bicycle. The 3 men meet a few minutes later. The first guy is crying. The second man asks, why are you crying? You have a Rolls Royce. And the first guy says, well, I just saw my wife riding by on a skateboard.
An old man is sitting on his porch and sees a kid walking by carrying a roll of duct tape. Old guy yells out, hey kid, where you going with that duct tape? Gonna catch me some ducks, says the kid. What? You can't catch ducks with duct tape, he yells back, but the kid continues on his way. Couple hours later, the kid is walking back the other way, carrying 4 ducks wrapped up in duct tape. The old man can't believe it. Next day, the old guy is sitting on his porch again and sees the kid walking by. This time he's got a roll of chicken wire under his arm. Old guy yells out, hey kid, where you going with that chicken wire? Gonna catch me some chickens, says the kid. Seriously? You can't catch chickens with chicken wire, he yells back, but once again the kid just continues on his way. Later that day, the kid walks back the other way and, sure enough, he's got a half-dozen chickens wrapped up in the chicken wire. The old guy is astounded. Next day, once again the old guy is sitting out on his porch and sees the kid walking in front of his house. He yells out, hey kid, what chaw got under your arm there? Pussy willow, says the kid. Hang on, I'll go get my hat.
What's the difference between a pickpocket and a peeping Tom? A pickpocket snatches watches. Red Fox.
A new farmer doesn't know where to start, so he enlists the help of his neighbor, a man who has run a successful farm for many years. What must I do to be a successful farmer? He asks. The old-timer says, first you must go to the market and buy a pullet, female chicken, and a cock, male chicken. While you are there, also buy yourself an ass, donkey, to help you carry them back to the farm. So the new farmer does as the old man says, and is in the middle of riding the ass back to the farm when it stops in the middle of the road, refusing to take another step. The new farmer can't do much while he's holding a chicken under each arm, but as it happens an old lady is coming down the road toward him. Thinking quickly, he asks, excuse me, ma'am, if you would be so kind, could you hold my cock and pull it while I slap my ass?
Sister Claire and Sister Teresa are driving down a desert highway when the devil appears on their hood, making threatening gestures. Quick, Sister Teresa says, show him your cross. Sister Claire leans out the window, shouting, piss off you bastard. I'll kick you in the beep balls if you try that beep again. Don't mess with me, you prick.
A guy and a girl meet up in a hospital elevator. The girl says, I'm here to give blood. They give me $10 every time I give blood. What are you here for? The man says, I'm here to donate semen. They give me $50 every time I donate. They go their separate ways until a week later when the man sees the girl rushing for the elevator. He holds the door open for her until she gets in. Here to donate blood again? He asks. She shakes her head,
Mickey and Minnie Mouse are at a divorce court. Lawyer, so Mickey, it says you want to divorce Minnie because she's extremely silly? Mickey, no, I said she was beep goofy.
Who is the most popular man in the nudist colony? The guy who can carry 2 drinks and 4 donuts. And who is the most popular woman in the nudist colony? The one who can eat the last donut.
My girlfriend tried to make me have sex on the hood of her Honda Civic. I refused. If I'm going to have sex, it's going to be on my own accord.
A priest is checking into a hotel and says to the front desk clerk, I hope the pornography on the TV is disabled. The clerk responds, no, it's regular porn you sick beep.
Man walks by a shop. There is a sign out front that says, cheese sandwiches $1, handjobs $5. So he walks in, sees a beautiful blonde standing behind the counter. He asks, are you the woman who gives the handjobs? She says, why yes I am, in a very flirty tone. He says, well, wash some hands and make me a cheese sandwich.
I felt unwell, so went to the doctor. He said, well, you're going to have to stop masturbating. I said, why's that? He said, because I'm trying to take your temperature.
What do you do if your wife starts smoking? Slow down and use some lubricant.
What does a horny frog say? Rub it.
May your day be filled with joy and happiness. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more quality content every day.